Hey, what's up, guys? This video is really just a long time coming. This is not my regular podcast. This is about something that I've been trying to share for a long time. So hopefully it goes well, and hopefully some of y'all can get involved. I've been looking for an outlet to speak to at-risk youth for years, and I can't seem to get an outlet. So I'm going to create my own outlet. And this is not necessarily for you or anybody watching, but maybe you know somebody that this could help. Maybe you know somebody that would benefit from hearing this. I'm going to talk about our kids, man. Kids and how they're being ruined, man. I know you see on the news about Chicago being so violent and things like that. Well, this is a little something that I wanted to talk about because I can relate to. I've been trying to reach out to at-risk youth, troubled kids, kids in gangs, kids on drugs, kids on the streets for years. And it's just hard to get in the door. You know, I've spoken to many people that claim that they care and they want these kids reached. And when it all comes down to it, it never happens. So I'm going to try this on my own. If you know somebody that might need to hear this, just share the video. If you guys have anything to say about what I'm saying, by all means, join in. I'm going to give you just a little brief background, just very brief. But kids don't listen to the guy with the PhD. Kids don't listen to the school counselor. Kids don't listen to the guys that come to the neighborhood from the community center trying to help them out. One of the big reasons they don't listen to them is they have no credibility. They used to come to the hood when I was a kid. I used to be in a gang, and we used to be in the neighborhood, and they used to come and try to talk to us. We never listened because there was no way that they could understand what we were going through. There was no way that they could relate to how our life was at the time. And, I'm here and I can tell you there's kids out there that I can relate to. I know the things that they're hearing on the streets. I know what motivates them. I know how they think. And I'll tell you right now, it's a bunch of crap, man. For lack of a better way of saying it, it's a bunch of crap. I grew up in the neighborhood. I grew up in the hood, and I was in a gang by the time I was 12 years old, I was out there running with gangs. Everybody in my family was running with gangs. Almost everybody that I hung out with was running with gangs. And it took a lot of years for me to figure this out, but I want to share it with you, man. Everything that I learned the hard way. And it doesn't have to be that way for all kids, man. All of these kids out there don't have to learn the hard way. I hear all this violence going on in Chicago, and that's where I'm from. I'm from Aurora, a suburb of Chicago. And it's straight nonsense, man. I can guarantee you that half them kids out there that are fighting back and forth, and I mean well into their 20s, if they're in their 30s and they're still gangbanging, they're just not going to grow up. They're going to refuse to grow up, and they'll probably die doing what they're doing. And it's unfortunate, but I know what they're hearing. They're hearing the same thing that I heard when I was a kid, man. They're hearing, oh, I'm poor. I was born in the hood. This is all I'm ever going to have. The hood, this is what we're about. This hood is ours, and we're going to take care of it. That's a crap, man. That's a lie. You're out there selling drugs in your hood, then you obviously don't care about it. If you're out there burglarizing in your hood, you obviously don't care about it. You're out there doing negative things in your hood, you don't care about it. Being in a gang and sticking up for a gang and the gang life is all about selfishness, man. That's the reality. That's the reality that nobody wants to tell you. These psychologists ain't going to tell you that. They're going to just tell you that, you can do better. You can be president if you want to. And that's a fact, but they're not going to tell it to you in the real way that I'm about to tell it to you. Everything that you're hearing out there, that you're poor, that this is all you've ever had, this is all you're going to have. I even used to hear that this is all they want us to have. They want to keep us down. The man is trying to keep us down. And you hear that, and you become desensitized to anything else, and you start believing that that's what you're destined for, and that's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. I've made it out of the hood, man. I have family members that are doing life in prison because they didn't make it out of the hood. I have many friends who died because they didn't make it out of the hood. I have tons of friends who ended up being dope fiends, crackheads, because they didn't make it out of the hood. And I have a very handful of friends that I still care about that are stuck in the hood. They're stuck in the hood because they don't know how to get out. They have not found that truth that can set them free from that bond of nonsense, that lie that's holding on to them. You know, we grew up thinking that, you know, we had to sell drugs to make it. We had to sell drugs to make ends meet. You know, we had to sell drugs to feed the baby. And all that's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. There ain't nobody holding you back. There ain't nobody holding you down. The only thing that's holding you down is you holding on to that lie. That lie that's the hood. The lie that's telling you that these guys are loyal to you. That these guys are your brothers. These guys that you're hanging out with are all that you have. They're your best friends, and they're going to be there for you. I'm going to tell you right now, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, and if you don't get it out of your head, that the reality is this, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I'm going to tell you the truth because I cared enough to tell you the truth. You're going to end up in prison. And when you get to prison, ain't nobody going to take care of you. You might have one or two guys that are going to be, you know, reaching out to you, letting you know that you were friends. Because you know what? In your lifestyle, you may very well end up with some real friends. You may very well end up with some people that you grow up with and you are friends. But it's not the gang that is making you friends, man. It's you guys growing up and sharing something together that's making you friends. It ain't the gang that's making you friends. So if those guys, those handful of guys are there for you, then that's fine. But the reality is this gang is a little world in itself that don't care about you or anybody in it. It's the people that are in it that don't realize that it's nothing real. A gang is not a real thing. A gang is a belief. A gang is a symbol. A gang is a color. It's not a real thing. It's not a tangible thing. It's not, you can't hug your gang. You can't hug the gang. You can hug a friend, but you can't hug a gang. A gang is something that somebody made up and they just kept passing the ball. All these little rules that a gang has, those were made up by some fool some long time ago that you're still following. They're not high tech or anything. They're just a list of rules and regulations. This is what we believe, and this is what you got to believe, and this is what you got to stand for. And if you go and you read that stuff, you realize they ain't talking about nothing. They ain't talking about absolutely nothing. But yet you spend a whole bunch of your time devoting yourself to studying this stuff, and you devote yourself to doing and living how this is telling you to live. You know, I had a talk with some kids probably a year ago, and we talked about, you know, kids grow up, they see nice cars, they see guys with women, and they want to have some of that. And it's like, okay, how do you get that? You don't need to be in a gang to do that. You know what I told the kids? I'm a baller. You want to be a baller? I'm a baller. I own a brand new car. I own a big house. I got a beautiful wife. I can do whatever I want in life. I was able to make it the day that I realized I don't have to believe all the stuff that I was told when I was young. When somebody tells you you can be whatever you want, that's the freaking truth. The only person that can hold you back from any goals in life is you. If you continue to believe the little things that you're hearing in the neighborhood, then yeah, you're going to be held back. One of the big things that I was thinking about in the last few hours, I mean, this video, it's a long time coming, man. And I decided today, I said, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs and make this video. And I'm going to tell you the truth about gangs. When I grew up right outside of Chicago in a gang. We hung out with a lot of guys that were in another gang. There was, you know, a street that split us. And them guys were friends. We hung out together. We done a lot of things together. And one day the gang split up. You know, the gangs, I guess, for you know, our gang started fighting with their gang. And You know, a lot of these kids out there in gangs, they don't realize, what are you even fighting for? Mexican gangs fighting other Mexican gangs. We're fighting with the guys across the street. They're Mexicans, we're Mexicans, they're Puerto Ricans, we're Puerto Ricans, and we're fighting against each other. We have the same cultures. We have the same moral beliefs. We have a lot of the same things, same traditions, yet we're at each other's throat for nothing other than because our gangs are at war. And a lot of times you look back and you think these gangs are at war for something that ain't got nothing to do with most of these people. We were at war, our gang versus their gang, because of a girl, because of a woman, because a woman slept with the leader of this gang's woman, slept with the leader of this gang's guy. And so that caused an all-out war. And I was thinking about it earlier today. A kid I grew up with named Junior. We used to hang out all the time. He was locked up. I remember he got locked up. And we would write each other back and forth because he was my friend. He was a friend of mine. And he was in the other gang. And years later, man, years after this, and these two gangs go to war, and I thought about it. We never stopped being friends. We never looked at each other and said, okay, I'm not your friend no more because our gangs are at war. We never stopped being friends. But because of the circumstances that our two gangs started fighting, we just no longer talked to each other like we used to. When we saw each other, there was a mutual respect, you know, the little head nod or whatever, but we couldn't talk to each other for fear of, oh, our gang's going to feel like you're not loyal because you're talking to this guy that we're supposed to be at war with these guys. And you think about it, you know, I've been locked up. I've been to prison. I know a lot of these guys in gangs have. And so you go and you get locked up in the county jail or you end up in prison and you start realizing, who are you talking to? You get along real well with the guy that's in the other gang. Why is that? Because you have a lot in common, man. The only thing you don't have in common is the fact that you guys are in different gangs. You know, there's territory fights. Don't nobody own nothing. All these guys out there gangbanging in Chicago, Aurora, and all these other places, you don't own nothing. That's, you know, it's the thing that blows my mind. If you're in a gang, a lot of these young kids, they're living in their parents' house, so they don't own nothing. The older guys, they're renting an apartment, they don't own nothing. You know, if you got enough sense to buy yourself a house or to establish yourself somewhere, then I hope you're still not doing the stupid stuff the gangs are doing. You know, so it just doesn't make sense to me why there's still such a thing, man. What is so deeply ingrained in people's minds that they're still fighting over things that they absolutely know nothing about? I'm sitting back thinking about Chicago, and I'm thinking to myself, like, gangs have been around for a long time, and things have gotten more and more violent over the years, but they haven't gotten more sophisticated. Matter of fact, they've gotten more chaotic. You know, now in the streets of Chicago, you got all these gangs fighting, and they're fighting amongst themselves because things are just chaotic. And it's like, where's this poison coming from? This poison comes from the lies that you're believing in the hood. The lies that that's all you're going to be, that this hood is yours, you have to protect it. The lies that, you know, you're loyal to this entity that it's fictional. You know, it really is. It's fictional. All gangs were created to just be a social network. And they turned into something much, much greater. They turned into violence. They turned into drugs. They turned into, you know, gang wars. And that's not what they were originally meant to be. They were just a bunch of group of guys that were hanging out, and if the guys from the other neighborhood, you know, would give them trouble, they band together to take care of themselves. And it just turned into a lot more, you know, from the 80s and 90s and on to now. You know, I grew up, when I was growing up, we used to fist fight. And then the 90s came around and those fist fights turned into gunfights. And things really did change. But the mentalities didn't change. It was all about the same things. It was all about the same lies that had been circulating for a long time. There is probably not a gangbanger out there that can look you in the face honestly and tell you why they're fighting. Well, I hate such and such because, because he's this, or because I saw him at a party and he disrespected me, or because they killed my guy, such and such. You know, you think about it is, so what? Absolutely so what? You know, because as long as you believe that this is worth something, you're going to always have something to fight for. The minute you release it and say, this has no true value, it'll be a whole lot easier to walk away from it. People don't tend to walk away from things that they hold valuable. And until you can get that reality in your head and say, this is not valuable, there's absolutely nothing positive coming from this. And I challenge you, anyone, tell me something positive that's coming from being in a gang or gang violence. You know, I learned a long time ago that I told myself a long time ago, somewhere around the same time where I told myself I can do absolutely anything I want, I can be successful. And I can be successful without a gang. I told myself there is no right way to do wrong. It's just simply impossible. There is no right way to do wrong. And I thought about it. You know, everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to sell drugs and I'm going to get to this certain point, then I'm going to get out. Bull crap. There's no such thing as an old drug dealer. There's no such thing as an old gangbanger. At some point in time, you end up behind bars, dead, or some other tragic thing. You know, one of the things that makes me think about this is I've been blessed, man. I made it. But what it took for me to make it was literally pick myself up and remove myself from everything that I was and start completely over. And it's sad because I have friends that I care about that still have not picked themselves up and removed themselves from that situation. And every day I think about it. I say, you know what, man? I wonder how such and such is doing, man. Because I know he's still selling weed, or I know he's still doing this or doing that. And it just makes me wonder. Man, I hope he's all right. I hope that he eventually grows up and believes in himself. You know, I had a friend of mine one day, he told me, oh, you know, I'm proud of you. You're doing well. You've moved on and you've done good things with yourself. What should I do? I have money. I have money put away. I've been hoarding money for a long time, and I want to get out. What should I do? It's like, man, the only thing you can do is believe in yourself and walk away from that and do whatever you want to do. You're not an idiot. You know, I know a lot of freaking kids are not idiots. They just sometimes don't have nobody to tell them no better. I learned everything the hard way. Everything in my life. I had a loving father. My father loved me. And you know what he used to tell me? You're going to do it whether I tell you to do it or not. If I tell you not to do it, you're going to do it anyway. His mentality was he could tell me not to do wrong, but he couldn't make me not do wrong. Those decisions were up to me. And he was pretty much right. Because he told me to not gangbang. He told me not to do drugs. He told me not to sell drugs. Did I listen? No, I didn't listen. It has to be a choice. Somebody can only tell you the truth, but you have to make the choice to follow that truth. If you're not willing to make the choice and follow that truth and believe in yourself without having a crutch, then you're not going to ever make it anywhere. That's all a gang is a crutch. Some people call religion a crutch. Some people use a lot of things as crutches. A gang is a crutch, man. There is absolutely nothing positive that you can list that you're going to get out of being in a gang. There's nothing positive that you can list that you're going to get out of doing drugs, selling drugs, committing crimes, burglaries, robberies, violence. You know, it's like one of the biggest things that I see is you get these young kids that think that it's a badge of honor because I shot somebody. It's a badge of honor because I beat somebody up. And it makes me laugh, man, because when I was a kid, I used to think that way. And the reality is, when 3 or 4 guys get together and go beat up another guy, that ain't no badge of honor. I don't care who that guy was. It ain't no badge of honor. It makes you kind of a coward. It does. One of the things that somebody told me a long time ago, it doesn't take a man to shoot somebody. It doesn't take a man. It doesn't even take a brave person to shoot somebody. You think about it, it's a freaking weapon. You can do it, and you can do it from far away. You can close your eyes and drive by in a car and shoot. And that's probably what happens most of the time. You know, it's a coward act. You cannot use those things to claim to be a man. You know, it's actually laughable because it's like, nah, man, that's not how it works. You know, you see guys that bully people in the neighborhood. You know, they see some guy walking by with a bag of groceries and want to bully on him. That's weak, man. That's worse than weak. But where is the change going to come from? Who is out there telling these people that, hey, look, it's not just a counselor telling you that, you know, you can make it, you can succeed. You have to think about thinking for yourself. You know, one of the things that I truly believe in is educating yourself. You know, I take education and I say, okay, I'm going to take it and I'm going to make it my own. You can feed me some education, and I may not take that education and hold on to it just the way you gave it to me. I'm going to look into it and say, okay, this is what I think this is, and this is how I think it should best be used, and make it my own. That's what we have to do in life, man. We got to look around us and say, okay, what is not benefiting me here? If you're hanging out with nothing but gangbangers and drug dealers and drug users, you need to look around yourself and say, what is not benefiting me here? And if you find a room full of people that aren't benefiting you, you're in the wrong room. You need to step up your game. You know, you guys talk about it all the time where I need to step up my game. I need to get my game right. Okay. Is this real? Or is this just a fantasy? Is this just a catchphrase that you want to use because, you know, you're from the hood, so you want to be talking like you're from the hood? Do you mean what you say when you need to step your game up? Stepping your game up is really elevating yourself. Elevating yourself means to elevate yourself in something positive, something that's going to be good for you in the long run. You elevating yourself in a gang sure as heck ain't going to freaking help you in the long run, and I can guarantee you that. You know, I have people that I know, family members, that are going to die in prison. I have a cousin that's literally going to die in prison. And he never got a chance to live life. He got locked up when he was 18 years old. Never got a chance to live life. Never got a chance to experience life. So many real life experiences that he'll never touch. He'll never know what that sensation is to fly in a plane or ride in a boat or, you know, ride a motorcycle. A ton of experiences in life that we take for granted that he'll never see because he chose to be loyal to a gang and live that lifestyle before he had the opportunity to be told or before he had the opportunity to make a better decision. You know, and the sad part is that unfortunately, it's the kids that I'm worried about because these kids don't have the mental capacity to make these decisions. You know, and if there's nobody putting it in their face in the rawest, realest form, they might not never get to make that decision. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, man. Because I know they're out there. I know there's kids out there that may be being told by a counselor, if you don't get your act right, you're going to end up in prison. That's not enough, man. Yes, that's the truth, but that's not enough. There's got to be more to this conversation. There's got to be a why. Why do you need to walk away from this? Let's look at your surroundings. Let's take everything as a whole and look at how it's going to come out. You know, I have kids. My kids are growing up. And I've always kept it real with my kids. And I literally had one of my kids twice come to me and tell me, Dad, I admit you told me so. And he didn't say it in those exact words, but that's exactly what he was saying. Because I would tell him, look, if you do this, 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 and this is what's going to end up happening. And I'm telling you because I've already been through it. Kids don't have that, man. There's not a lot of people out there that can say, hey, look, this is what I'm telling you. These three guys that you're hanging out with really don't care about you. If they cared about you, they wouldn't be trying to get you to go out there and do these knuckleheaded things with them. You can be a positive influence and try to help them along, but if they don't want to follow you to success, then you have to cut them off. If we're not willing to cut people off, we're not willing to move forward. And young kids may not understand the recipes to success, but you talk about successful people and what it takes to be successful. And there's a lot of them people that are successful that one of the things that they all agree on is you must surround yourself with positive people. One of the other things that they all agree on is you must surround yourself with successful people. But one of the most important things that they agree on is you must remove yourself from negative people. If you're not willing to do those things, you're not willing to move forward. If there's not somebody out there willing to take this kid, sit him down and tell him the truth in the rawest form, then you're not really trying to help that kid. You telling a kid that you know is at risk, on drugs or whatever else it is, you telling the kid that if you don't straighten up, you're going to end up in prison. Yeah, that might move somebody, but the chances are highly unlikely. You really got to take somebody and say, hey, this is the situation right here. And these are the things that are leading you down this path. And the only place this path leads is X, Y, or Z. That might be death. That might be prison. That might be addiction. But if we can't really reach them with those raw truths, we can't help them, man. We're not going to get kids. And I tried this recently. That's kind of why I'm here. I try to go to the community center and talk to the guy. Say, okay, look, round me up some kids and I'll come give them a speech. I will come and I have some props. I'll come and I'll lay it out to them and we'll feed them. We'll try to get them attracted somehow. And he couldn't get no kids. As soon as they found out it was going to be this kind of talk, they didn't want nothing to do with it. I've talked to the judge, a local judge. We had a couple conversations. And there was a bunch of hoops that they wanted me to jump through. I tried to jump through the hoops, and there's still a hang-up. They lose interest. Okay, I try to get into the local youth home. They don't want to let me in. They have hang-ups, and it's like, does anybody care? Does anybody care enough to say, look, we're not caring about all these hoops. We're caring about, can we somehow reach these kids? Where are those people at? Where are those people that are out there saying, hey, we need to go directly to them and say, hey, we're here to help. If you're in a situation, just text me. I mean, we're easily communicating with, tens of people every day. Cell phones, computers, or whatever. These kids all have a phone. Is there a way that we can reach out to these kids and say, hey, if you're ever in trouble, just give us a call. Does anybody ever say that and mean it? I don't know, man. Does anybody truly ever reach out to somebody and mean it when they say, if you need me, call me? Where's that at? I'm living in a town where, yeah, there's not a lot of gang violence, but the fact is, I know that it's starting. There's gangs that are brewing in this little town, and it's like, man, I want to hit it before it blows up into what I grew up in. If I can hit it before it blows up into what I grew up in, then maybe we save one kid. I know that there's a lot of people out there, family, friends, people I grew up with. You care. I know you care. I know you care because you made it. You made it, and you look back at all the stuff you've seen, and you're like, damn, I actually made it. And you know that it was luck. You know that it was either God, if you believe in God, or it was somebody close to you. The reality is, these kids are going to go to prison, go to jail, and they're going to realize there's going to be 2 or 3 people at most that are there for them. And usually it's going to be a mother, because there ain't nothing going to change that mom's love. You might have a girl stick it out with you, but then people are usually going to be family. They're not going to be the friend that you kind of freaking lived down the street from that was hanging out with you on the corner all day. That dude's going to forget about you as soon as you're gone. He might be partying every weekend and pour a little something for you on the ground. What does that mean? How does that help? How does that help you better yourself? How does that help you move forward? It doesn't. Those are more of those little symbolic things that mean absolutely nothing. They're not real, I've tried to reach out to the county jail in Illinois, where I'm from. I've tried to reach out to the youth home in Illinois, where I'm from. For years, I was sending books to the Illinois state prisons. I send books to the Tennessee state prisons. I send books to the county jails. And it's like every time that I started doing these things, there'd be a stumbling block. And it's like, you know, it makes you wonder. I got another podcast called Ken Kong and Mr. Black where we talk about real stuff. And the question is, do those people really care? If there's always a stumbling block popping up, do those people really care? They're probably trying to suppress the good that we're trying to do as opposed to trying to help. And it went so far as from Illinois, I got a letter from one of the directors telling me, thank you for doing this. I called in an order to Illinois saying, hey, look, I'm going to send X amount of cases of books, and I want one case to go to each of the prisons in all of the state of Illinois. And she tells me, she's like, why are you doing this? She's like, man, we appreciate what you're doing, but why are you doing this? And I simply said, because I've been there. I've been there, and I know that it helps. So that's why I was trying to do it. But it seems as of late, there's been nothing but stumbling blocks. Who out there, the reason I'm doing this here on Facebook is I want to know who out there knows of, runs programs to reach at-risk youth, knows somebody that runs a program, or knows of any way that we can get the word out to try to help kids, troubled kids, kids on drugs, kids in gangs, kids with addiction, anything like that. I've seen it all. You know, I haven't shared my whole story here, but I mean, most of you that I know there's a lot of guys out there that are watching know where I come from, know what I've seen in my life. And that's the reason I care. There is really no reason why a child should see the things that I saw in my life. There is no reason a kid should go through the things I went through in my life. And I think because of all the things that I destroyed growing up, in my heart, I want to save somebody. It's my way of wanting to give back. I want to say, if I can save just one kid at a time, I will somehow feel better about all the lives I destroyed. Me and I know some of the people watching right now, we destroyed lives. We lived a life of destroying other people's lives. And somehow, some way, we got to make up for that. We got to reach out because we did it blindly. We didn't know no better. We all know better now, but we were destroying lives blindly. We were destroying lives following an entity that did not care. We were following a lie that did not care. We were living a life that did not benefit us. And it wasn't even, there was literally nobody that it was benefiting. Even the leader of a gang doesn't benefit. Even the leader of the freaking gang does not benefit from all the violence, does not benefit from all the drug sales, does not benefit from all the things that we destroy. Nobody benefits. You know, the leader goes to jail for the rest of his life. All the minions go to jail for the rest of their lives. Half the minions die. Half the minions are hooked on drugs. And you get a freaking small percentage that end up surviving and somehow getting away. You know, and it's crazy because that is it. It's a very small percentage of people that actually get away. I'm looking at the stuff going on in Chicago right now, and I'm thinking to myself, these people that are killing each other probably a couple years ago lived in neighborhoods that actually got along with each other. But because of some fictitious rule set, they now have to be enemies. They are bound by their rules to be enemies and to destroy each other. Who makes the rules, man? Any one of them could say, you know what? This is freaking stupid. And stop. But no, there's some evil entity just feeding that fire with whatever excuse. Oh, well, they shot little Johnny over there. We must get him. Or, you know, they beat up so-and-so over there. We must get him. All that is freaking nonsense, man. All that is nonsense. I tell you right now, there was a guy that was trying to kill me. And I know he tried to kill me every week. I know several times he tried to come get me. We ultimately ended up locked up together. And we fought. And we could still get along. We fought and we'd still get along. It wasn't a big deal. It was like all of this meant nothing. there was nothing real about it. It was just the fact that we were in two different gangs, and there was some obligation there to be at each other's throat. But there was no real hatred. And that's the things I think about now is like, who does not understand that? That life, man, as we know it in a gang, is all about the propaganda that we're fed and our willingness to follow, our willingness to blindly follow, ignorantly follow. You know, one of the things I was thinking about sharing is, you know, a lot of these kids are young, they're in school still. If you're out there and you're in school, man, suck that stuff up, man. Free education. Oh my God, the internet, you can learn for free. You know, I have a son who I didn't force him to go to college. Why? Because there's education right here for free. You can educate yourself in anything that you want. And it's there at your fingertips. You know, but take all the education you can get. High school, if you can get into college, go and take all that education and use it to whatever it is that you desire. But there's somebody there that's willing to give you a free education. You might as well take it and use it. Learn it. Learn what it actually means, though. Don't just go and sit in a desk and just get fed whatever they want you to know. Take it and say, okay, this is history. What is there more to it than this? You know, just look at the gang around you and ask yourself, there's got to be more to this. What is it? Ask yourself. Find out where they came. Why are you even fighting? I guarantee you most people don't even know. That's one of the things that blows my mind. Where does it come from? There's nothing out there worth taking to somebody else's life. There is nothing out there that is involved with gangs that's worth taking somebody else's life. Drug money? Oh, because they're selling drugs in your neighborhood? There's enough drug addicts in the world for everybody, if that's what you choose to do. It's not going to get you anywhere, but that's certainly not a reason to be fighting. Their colors are different. That's probably the biggest laughable thing, because they're wearing a different color than you. So you're supposed to hate them because they like a different color than you? It's the biggest ignorance I've ever heard, man. But there is so much that can be done. Well, all I want is I want an outlet. I want an audience. I want kids that I can sit here and I can show them why it is that I care. I have a picture, and I don't have it here. It's actually in my truck. But some of you guys will know what I'm talking about. I have a picture of 33 Latin kings that were all rounded up in, I think, 2002, maybe 5, something like that. But there was 33 Latin kings that were rounded up on cold case murders. And my speech was about decisions. 33 guys that were rounded up on murders that they had committed. A lot of them they committed when they were kids. They were already older guys, had moved on, were living different lives. But they came, they knocked down their door, snatched them up, took them to jail. Some of them got life. You know, some of them did a lot of time in prison for crimes they committed when they were teenagers that they thought they got away with. And it's the decisions that they made when they were young that they were having to pay for as they got older. And it's really not worth it, man. We think we're doing something when we're young that's cool, and then when we get to the age of where we decide, oh, that's not cool no more. I got to go live my life. I got my wife. I got my kids. I think I better get a job and start doing it right. And then karma comes and snatches you up for something you did 10, 15 years ago. I think the oldest one was like 18 years. A murder that had happened 18 years before. And it's like, man, one of the reasons that I used that prop when I was talking to these kids was I knew a lot of them guys. You know, those were the guys that I was talking about when we were little. Their hood was right across the street from ours, and we used to hang out all the time until the day came where somebody said, they're no longer our friends. We are at war with them, and now we must eliminate each other, or we must hate each other from now on. And it's like, but nothing ever changed, man. You know, yeah, there was a lot of violence, but nothing really changed. The only thing that changed was somebody said, we can no longer get along. And we no longer got along. So, with that being said, man, if there's anybody out there that has Nick, they won't let me come speak. Um, they have an approval process, and I just can't. I just don't meet their approval, man. Long story. If I end up talking about this on a more regular basis, I'm sure it'll come out. Yes, and now that dude is serving a life sentence. Thanks, Andrew. I hope that is. I believe in God, so I don't worry about my past and what I've done. But in my heart, it's about not wanting to continue to see kids suffer the things that I suffered without knowing. I will share this, and my kids really don't understand. I am a miracle. I am a miracle because in the early 90s, a lot of my friends got a lot of federal prison time. And I happened to be gone when it happened. Had I not been gone, I would have been rounded up right along with them. And then in the early 2000s, it happened again. And a lot of the people I know literally ended up getting life in prison. And I was gone. It just so happened that I was not around. Had I been around, I would have been part of that group that got life in prison. And so I know that I'm blessed. I know that I'm blessed. And it took for me to grow up and realize that I could actually do anything I wanted. You know, I think I was probably in my late 20s when I finally realized. I looked around and was like, wait a minute. This is getting me nowhere. I have enough intelligence and enough, for lack of a better way of saying it, enough game to succeed at anything. And that's what I've gone on and done. I consider myself successful. I consider myself having made it. And I think that's kind of what I want to share, is that anybody can make it. I'm a firm believer that anybody can make it, man. There's $1 million out there for anybody that wants it. All you have to do is have the desire to do something that you enjoy and succeed. You know, we were having a conversation about success a few weeks back, and a good friend of mine asked me, what is the definition of success? And he asked a bunch of people that he felt were successful or had some success or were intelligent and things like that. And I was one of the people he asked, and my answer was, success is basically little victories in whatever it is that you desire. Having little victories in little things in life, man. And you know, these kids going to jail, that's not a victory. A kid getting kicked out of school is not a victory. You know, kids are really, what concerns me is them missing their opportunities early in life because of bad decisions. I think that's my thing. Anybody can succeed, but you can also shoot yourself in the foot with bad decisions. You know, and those decisions can be something as simple as who you're hanging around with, who you're associating with. And that's the thing that I want to reach out to people. I was actually reading something recently, and the guy was basically saying part of your keys to success is take everybody you associate with and find the most negative person and fire him and replace him with a positive person. And they said if you do that so often, you will eventually be surrounded with nothing but positive people and successful people. And it makes sense. You know, if another thing that we were talking about the other day is, I think I was talking with Kenny, and he said something about you are basically, you're basically like the 5 most people that you hang out with. That's kind of what you become. And I believe that, man. So we have to, these kids really have to have the opportunity to know that these things that I'm speaking of are not things that kids are hearing. The things that I'm speaking of are not stuff that I heard when I was a kid. I wasn't hearing people talking about success and what it takes to be successful in grade school or in high school. You know, all I heard in grade school and high school was you got to get an education, you got to go to college. That's where you're going to have your success. You got to go to college, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be whatever. And that's bullshit. There's a lot more to it than that. You know, the world's not telling you all that. The world's not telling them that, I should say. But then you become, you know, a little more educated and you start understanding life more. And now you can start seeking those things. But nobody's telling those kids those things. And I think those kids being fed those things early in life are what's going to help them overcome. And it's going to hinder them otherwise. You know, sometimes we think that kids are not ready for this kind of conversation. And that's just not true, man. You know, there's kids out there that are really, really bright. But you think about in the hood, in poor communities, chances are the parents are probably just hardworking parents that bust their butt every day just enough to provide. This kid has nothing else to do but to run the streets because he ain't got no parents because they're always working. You know, I'm thinking of that type of situation where these kids are not getting the things in their ear that they need to be getting. I've run into a couple kids recently, and you know, the kid gets busted with some weed, and I see the kid, and I'm looking at the kid like, man, you know, whatever it is that you think you're getting out of this, I guarantee you something. That's going to be there when you get to where you're going. You know, I have a friend of mine who's a very successful athlete, but he likes to get high. And it's like, dude, get where you're going first. And if you want to get high once you get there, and you ain't got to answer to nobody, it'll be there when you get there. You know, or any vice that you may have, it will be there when you reach your goal. And one of the things that I have one of my sons that is on a football scholarship right now, and I tell him all the time, you cannot only think of what do I need to do to get to where I'm going. You also have to think of what do I need to not be doing that may hinder me getting to where I'm going. And if we're not thinking about that too, then we're not benefiting anybody, because the reality is we can say, okay, these are my goals. These are all my goals, and I need to do this, 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 and this to get to my goal. If we don't also add a list of, I need to avoid this, 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 and this, then we're cutting ourselves short. We need to have that list also. What do I need to be avoiding to get me to where I got to go? So, you know, these kids out there, I mean, from what I understand, man, weed is a really, really big thing, man, in schools right now, man. And to me, it's like, okay, do I care if weed's legal or illegal? No, I don't. I don't get high. I haven't gotten high since I was 15 years old. And anybody that knows me knows that. I freaking stopped doing that crap when I was 15 years old because it just didn't interest me no more. It's that simple. But the thing is, we got to think about this. And I don't really frown on it. I don't care. But when you're talking about a kid whose brain is not fully developed, and they're talking about the brain doesn't fully develop until mid to late 20s. So we're talking about a kid whose brain is not fully developed. There's probably no benefit for him to be getting high. So as far as I'm concerned, it's really not much to talk about. Once this kid becomes of age and decides he wants to do whatever he wants, then okay, he does whatever he wants. But if this kid can be reached and really guided in the benefits of avoiding these negative things until you get to where you're going and reach your goals, then maybe we're getting somewhere. You know, because that's a fact, man. The reality is we need to get kids to set goals and be able to overcome the things that are holding them back now. I see a ton of kids that are not dumb kids, but they make dumb decisions, and for the rest of their life, now they have a stumbling block. You know, you see kids that get suspended for doing something stupid, and it's like, do you really want to suspend him and not, you know, let him get another opportunity to succeed? You know, kids are going to do stupid stuff when they're young, man. You know, I was kicked out of the 7th grade. I never made it to high school. I was kicked out of the 7th grade in like 3 months. I went to an alternative school. I came back the following year. Was kicked out within a month. And then I was put into an alternative school. So there's truly no avenue once you make that mistake. You know, these alternative schools that we're putting these kids in are not helping them. You know, so we got to get them before they start making bad or decisions that are too bad. I mean, if they're in a gang already, that's already a bad decision. If they're doing drugs or they're committing crimes, they're already in bad decisions. We got to reach them and try to pull them out of that before it gets too late. But anyway, I know that a lot of people have watched this. I know that a lot of people have commented and things like this. What I'm asking is if anybody knows anybody that could use somebody like me to reach kids that are troubled, that are at risk, then I want to know about it. I want to be part of something that is there to help kids succeed and to kind of pull them out of negativity and give them an avenue or at least a path to something better. If anybody has any ideas, by all means, man, you can message me. But I'm really sincere, man. There's a lot in my background that we can talk about. There's just so much that I have to offer, man, and I'm willing to offer it to any kids that are at risk, any kids that are needing to hear the truths about negative life. If anybody wants to hit me up about it, if you comment, I'll probably be making some more structured talks in the future. This one was just something that just was heavy on me, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go ahead and do this video now. So there's probably going to be shorter videos, maybe a little bit more structured in the future. Just, you know, keep me in mind, and I'll keep you guys posted. It'll be on my page, and we'll see where we go from there, man. I appreciate you guys joining me. I appreciate your guys' comments, and if I didn't respond to your comment, I'll try to reach out to you. But thank you guys, and have a good night, man. I'm glad you guys were here with me. It's Saturday night, so I'm glad you guys took the time to listen. I appreciate it.